Hey everybody, pretty exciting video here. What we've done is we've crowdsourced people's most impactful YouTube videos ever, the ones that impacted their lives. We're gonna share these videos with you and we're gonna explain them in one sentence, two sentences, or maybe even less. We're gonna cover the topics of psychology, world affairs, business, and some weird art and design stuff. Of course, we couldn't share every single video, there's too many of them, so we've kept the best for this video. If you want the full list, you can use this URL here, or look at the link in the description below. So let's kick off with this one, How the Economic Machine Works by Ray Dalio. This pretty amazing video helps you understand the global economy in just 30 minutes. It breaks down economic principles like credit, deficits, and interest rates. You'll also see how economic policies work and why economic cycles occur. Now this one's also amazing, The Century of the Self, parts 1, 2, and 3. It's the incredible story of the invention of mass manipulation and PR. In it, you'll discover the story of the amazing relationship between Sigmund Freud and his American nephew, Edward Bernays. Next is Joe Rogan's interview with the amazing Paul Stamets. In it, you'll discover everything about mycelium, about mushrooms, why you should eat lion's mane every day, that the largest living organism in the world is a mushroom, and it explains the magnificent world of medicinal fungi and the possibilities for nature and ourselves. An RSA replay of Steven Pinker talking about his book Enlightenment Now. Don't give in to media's sensationalism. The world is actually much better than it ever was according to wars, child mortality, poverty, diseases, GDP, and a bunch of other economic factors. Matthew Walker's talk about why we sleep. After watching this video, you'll be more focused, more creative, fitter, and maybe even happier. Discover things about sleep that you actually didn't know. Next is Lecture 1 of Stanford's How to Start a Startup series. In it, you'll discover a cascade of startup advice from developing an idea to hiring and scaling. This is a must-watch, it's pure gold. Editing in storytelling. How film editing manipulates emotions, and when it's done right, you probably don't even notice. Here's another Joe Rogan interview, this time interviewing Brian Cox. Get ready to get some big perspective. There are 2 trillion galaxies out there. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, contains 200 to 400 billion stars, and many more amazing facts about our universe and where we come from. Next is the overview of the 5 stages of blitzscaling. Companies go through 5 stages: family, tribe, village, city, nation. And each phase has different rules, processes, and tactics that you should follow. The Secret of Perfect Timing by Daniel Pink. When you do things is sometimes more important than what you actually do. Basically, do the most difficult tasks in the morning, the administrative stuff in the middle of the day, and the social and creative stuff at the end of the day. Watch this video, it'll change your mind on how you organize your day. Robert Sapolsky on the neuroscience behind behavior. Discover amazing facts about the brain and human behavior. Your frontal cortex is responsible for impulse control, for your rational thinking, whereas your amygdala seems to be responsible for fear and impulse. Don't panic. The truth about our population and growth. This is basically a lot of the world's data beautifully visualized. Prediction machines, the simple economics of AI. Now, the constant challenge of all managers is to make difficult decisions under uncertainty, and AI contributes by making what's happening in the future more certain and cheaper. This one's interesting. Dr. Bruce explains how we were programmed from birth. Basically, the first 7 years of a child make a human. During those formative years, a child is basically under constant hypnosis. Don't talk to the police. This one's interesting, and I think it's very USA specific. This is a really entertaining talk about why you should never talk to the police before your lawyer gets there, and it's got some scary examples in it. James Currier's talk at Le Web back in 2013. Marketing channels decay over time, but the level of complexity rises. Try to build your onboarding similar to how video games do it, and try to build a growth team responsible for your growth metrics. This one, Reggie Watts is going to disorient you in the most entertaining way. You'll see Reggie mocking all TED Talks, talking gibberish while keeping you on the edge of your seat the whole time. It's a great example of the power of speech and body language at the same time. Back to the Stanford lectures, here's lecture number 10 with Brian Chesky from Airbnb. It's better to have 100 people who love you or love your product rather than 1,000 people who sort of care. It's very important to maintain your culture as you scale your company. Fantastic talk, please watch it. 10-Year Futures by Benedict Evans. Ben Evans is really a master of what's happening now and what are the next S-curves that are coming along. Obvious always wins. This is a very entertaining and informative talk about simple designs are usually better, but are also very difficult to nail. And also shows use cases as to why you should always test your assumptions. How to get users and grow. This is a talk by Alex Schultz, VP of Growth at Facebook, about how to get users, how to grow, and how to actually measure growth. He also mentions that retention is the one single most important metric for growth, and the second one linked to that is usually virality that you want to build into your product. Jason Cohen on how data will get you to do completely the wrong thing. In it, he covers financial modeling to determine growth rates, types of experiments to work on, and what your most important metrics is. The digital skills gap and the future of jobs. In the future, employers and success require you to know an ever-changing number of new skills, the most important skill of which is probably to have the growth mindset. Stanford seminar on the end of privacy. In this talk, Kaczynski shows us how our digital footprints reveal essential information about us, even information that we try to to hide from our loved ones. It's like the data knows more about us than our friends and family do. Scary but amazing talk at the same time. Chris Voss on never splitting the difference. Basically, everything we've ever previously been taught about negotiation is all wrong. People are not rational. There's no such thing as fair. Compromise is the worst thing you can do in a negotiation. And the real art of negotiation lies with mastering the intricacies of no, not yes. History of Japan, which is basically the history of Japan in 9 minutes. The mathematics of weight loss, which is an amazing journey on the science of losing weight. Homo Sapiens by Yuval Harari. Here, the writer from the book Homo Sapiens talks about his learnings and the current state of the world. Are failing schools enough? Is enough. Why haven't we yet allowed innovation to happen within schools? There must be a way to do better than this. He shows use cases and some possible solutions. A documentary called The Four Horsemen. This documentary outlines the 4 pillars of our global economy and the Western banking system. It criticizes the system of fractional reserve banking, the debt-based economy, and political lobbying by banks. Mary Meeker's 2018 Internet Trends Report. We watch this one every single year. It's an amazing and fast-paced talk by Kleiner Perkins where they go through the key trends each year. Competition is for losers with Peter Thiel. There's basically 2 types of companies. Ones that are competitive, that have competition, and monopolies. And you should be building a monopoly. Monopolies have a defensive moat by creating economies of scale, or branding, proprietary technology, or network effect. A really nice talk by the founder of Watsi, Chase Adam. It's a testimonial video about the first non-profit that got into a famous startup accelerator. And it talks about impacting people's life through entrepreneurship in a non-corny way. Inside the mind of a master procrastinator. Tim Urban takes us through a journey of YouTube binges, Wikipedia rabbit holes, and bouts of simply staring out the window. Philip Wallen in the Animals Should Be Off the Menu debate, where he shares mind-blowing stats as to why meat should be off of the menu. Sandra Matz on psychological targeting. You can target people online based on their personality traits rather than their social demographic traits. So you can target why they do things rather than just who they are. How to get started in doing things that don't scale. If you're a small team within a big company or if you're a startup, doing things by hand is one of your biggest competitive advantage compared to the competition. Congratulations, you've made it halfway. And now for something completely different. Design Club on Super Mario Bros. This will teach you some beautiful learnings about user experience design. This video with Neil deGrasse Tyson, where he talks beautifully and in depth about the wonders of the universe. Why did we stop walking and how do we start again? This is a really interesting video about why most people don't walk or cycle in the USA. Did you know the auto industry made jaywalking illegal? MIT Deep Learning Basics, which is basically a video with the basics of deep learning. This one's not a video, it's a channel. It's called History Crash Courses, and it's history nicely explained. Andrew Ng on the state of artificial intelligence. Guess what? AI is the new electricity, and here's why. This video about strategic quitting. It's basically how to continuously get rid of the activities that don't contribute to your strategic goals. Get rid of the fluff, focus on what matters. The First Man documentary. A video about the transition from great apes to humans, and which skills led these humans to dominate. An interview with Naval Ravikant. He's the founder of AngelList, and he talks about meditation, book, life advice, and principles. The Super Mario effect. How to trick your brain into learning more. The best way to learn is to remove fear of failure. The Super Mario effect helps you not to quit. The difference between AI, machine learning, and deep learning. And that's what it is. What's the difference between AI, machine learning, and deep learning? Resilience in the workplace. People's workload has increased while resources have actually decreased. We need to build resilience. The magical science of storytelling, which is a crazy video because it goes into the chemical science of storytelling. Vipassana meditation. This is an introduction to Vipassana meditation. If you're interested in mindfulness or clearing your brain a little bit, check it out. Blitzscaling number 8 with Eric Schmidt from Google. Lessons on structuring your teams and your company when your company's scaling extremely fast. Randy Posh's lecture on time management. This one's funny, it's like the guru of time management. If you've ever heard a principle about good time management, it's probably from this guy. One of Jordan Peterson's finest moments. How we can live a meaningful life in a postmodern culture. The most astounding fact with Neil deGrasse Tyson. What is the one most astounding fact that Neil Tyson can share with us about the universe? Watch the video and find out. The only metric that matters. There is one usage metric that's probably more important than any other metric in your company at any given time. Do you have product market fit? It's all about retention. Casey Winters on why retention is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Blockchain or Bitcoin? Understanding the differences. This is a deep dive into the broad term of blockchain. The art of stress-free productivity. David Allen is a guru on productivity, and he'll teach you how to have a mind like water. How the brain creates emotions. Exploring possible paths on how to build human-level intelligence with AI. Steve Jobs' 2005 Stanford commencement commencement address, a great speech from Steve Jobs about entrepreneurship and life. This is what happens when you reply to spam email. Hilarious video from James Vetch when he actually starts to reply to spam email and start interactions. Wim Hof on Vice. He's known as the Dutch Iceman. He'll teach you about training and why you should take a really cold shower. Alan Watts on how to get your mind back. The idea that we came into this world is ridiculous. We came out of this world. The imposter syndrome. Why we suffer from the imposter syndrome and how you can sort of fix it. Ready for change. A new operating system for organizations based on agile, lean, and design thinking principles. A talk by Daniel Kahneman about thinking fast and slow. Your brain has two systems. System 1 is the fast brain. System 2 is the slow brain. Impulse versus logic. Mini-log, as human as possible. Two DJs invite us to visit them at their studio, and it's a pretty mind-blowing experience. How to speak so that people actually want to listen. How through very little effort, small details, you can be a much more enjoyable person to listen to. Oh, and it's funny because at 1 minute 24, you can see a guy sleeping in the front. How do you combine psychology with technology? Nell Watson on why we should treat AI sort of the same way we treat dogs. Why 30 is not the new 20. This is a talk about the importance of making the right choices in your 20s and why people end up mostly just wasting their time during those precious years. Salvador Dali and Mike Wallace. This is what 1958 looked and felt like. The power of introverts. Introverts are invaluable to leadership and creativity. They might talk less, but their words are worth much more. Fierce conversations on how to address toxic employees. This is about conversations with toxic employees. Why you should define your fears instead of your goals. What we most fear doing, asking, and saying are very often exactly what we need to be doing. What does the Earth look like? You'll be amazed to discover how big Africa actually is and a bunch of other visual facts about the globe. Career advice you probably didn't get. The importance of a specific skill set that most male mid-managers are aware of, but that female mid-managers are not aware of. Food and medicine, preventing the most common diseases with diet. You can actually cure most common diseases by changing your diet. Check out this talk, it's pretty mind-blowing. Richard Feynman on the character of physical law. This is physics explained to everyone. This is how I discovered physics, and it's explained by one of the greatest minds that ever lived. How Nintendo built Mario's most iconic level ever. In this video, Miyamoto explains the thought process behind designing Mario on a specific level. Investing, making decisions, happiness, and the meaning of life. Interview with Naval Ravikant about these specific topics. Here's Brian Cox again on machine learning and artificial intelligence. In this video, a panel of AI experts define AI and talk about the implications. Segment secret for unlocking extraordinary growth. This is Guillaume Caban's next level playbooks on how to acquire customers for B2B. The lean startup with Eric Ries. The dominant question of our time is not can it be built? Of course it can be built, but should it be built? Am I really solving a pain? And how to build, measure, learn. Justice. What's the right thing to do? Can murder actually be moral? What a 15-year-old meth addict taught me about leadership. This is leadership in a context where you know that the person already has all of the solutions. As a leader, the person needs to find the solutions themselves. Randy Pausch on achieving your childhood dreams, which is the last lecture of this genius before he passed away. Artificial intelligence, is it our last invention? This one goes really far on artificial superintelligence and the fact that it might destroy humanity. What are the jobs to be done of a product with Professor Clayton Christensen. This is a fantastic introduction to the jobs to be done concept. James Cameron and the Deep Sea Challenge. In this video, James Cameron takes us 11 kilometers below sea level. Creating psychological safety at work. An amazing study on fatalities and drug dosing mistake by nurses in hospitals. Owlet first place. How to use Alexander Osterwalder's business model canvas to validate your business model. Real scenes in Berlin. It's one of the most special places for electronic music in the world, and you get to discover it little by little. Clayton Christensen and Mark Andreessen at Startup Grind. Talking about new business models, why innovation is so difficult, and why most companies are failing. The 5 lessons in life people learn too late. These are sweet but simple life lessons from China's richest man, Jack Ma. How great leaders inspire action. This is the famous talk by Simon Sinek about the golden circle and why you should start with the why. Why you should make useless things. Failure is the best way to learn, and it paves the way for enthusiasm and perseverance. Best video CV ever. One of the most amazing online resumes I've ever seen. Obesity is a national security issue. Why obesity can actually be a security threat to the nation. History of the entire world. This is the history of the entire world in like 20 minutes. It's funny and very informative at the same time. Why some countries are rich and some countries are poor. Quality of institutions, culture, natural resources, a really nice macroeconomic breakdown. Catch Me If You Can with Frank Abagnale. The story of the guy from Catch Me If You Can, the movie, and he's mostly telling us not to cheat people. Okay, that's it for all the videos. The full list can be found in the resources. If we missed anything, please let us know, put it in the comments, and as always, subscribe and like us to support us.